One of the things that came up in the comments was the fact that we got free land, and I think a lot of people thought it maybe our story didn't like matter because that was a big part of it. But the way we look at it is like there's a lot of people get opportunities, and not everybody takes those opportunities. You know, for instance, whenever I was going into college, my parents said, we'll pay for your college if you go, but if you stop going at any point, then you're gonna have to pay for it if you want to go back. And so I went for like 3 months, and then I quit and started working full-time and didn't want to go anymore. So when I decided to go back a year or two later, then they didn't pay for it anymore, and I had to pay for it on my own, which is where most of our debt came from, actually. So that was an opportunity that I just totally botched because I didn't feel like doing it. Or
the first time you went to school, it wasn't a big deal to you. You were just fresh out of high school, and you were just like, college isn't for me. But knowing now, like what we had to go through to get you there, it's like, why didn't I take it? But you don't know.
We wanted to build a house like this, a metal building that we converted, but nowhere around us would allow you to do that. They all wanted you to have like a 60% or 70% like brick house, and it had to be like at least 1,800 square feet.
Now there was other land that was basically like mobile home land and stuff like that. Because we were talking to my parents about it, like that's when they offered that we just, you know, this is the land I grew up on. We've lived here since I was in like 5th grade. And 32 now, you do the math, I don't know. So when they said that we could use some of their land, we were fully intending on paying for it. We were never like looking for a handout or looking for, I mean, and not everybody wants to live on their parents' land either. When everyone is saying that, of course we're debt free because we got free land, that had nothing to do with it. We got out of our debt except for the house, which is not even the same baby step in Dave Ramsey's terms. You know, what if somebody was a doctor and you say, oh, well, of course they're a doctor, their parents paid for them to go to school. Okay. Well, they still had to go to school and to work hard for their grades and to achieve that themselves. My parents didn't pay for my college. They said after high school, you either go to the military or you go get a job. When I went to college, we worked full time, and then at night we would go from 6 until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And we are super grateful that my parents did offer their land, but it wasn't a make or break situation. Oh, and also I think people are talking about land being super expensive where they are.
Yeah, where we're at right now, land has just started going up, and in the last, really in the last few years. So until that point, you could get an acre of land around here for, you know, around under 20,000 sometimes. So it wasn't insanely difficult to find something like that. So we're talking, you know, another year of saving or paying that we would have rented or something to buy a piece of land and then build on it. We're not talking $100,000 piece of land or anything like that. So, you know, that you have to kind of keep that in perspective too, where you're at or where these people are commenting from may be very different as far as building materials and land and that sort of thing.
And we did have to, you know, make our own driveway, do the septic. What else is like?
Yeah, there was nothing out here. It was, I mean, they have their own septic. We had to get electric to the house. We had to get water to the house. We had to pay to put a driveway in. We had to, you know, pay to tie into the water main at the front of the, or at the street. I mean, there was nothing out here. It's not like we just tapped into their resources. And this is a 100% separate household. And, you know, the only thing that we technically share with them is like their pool that they gave us access to, which, you know, I mean, there was some big perks for moving out here for sure, you know. I mean, one, we were able to get the land without, you know, not paying for it, but it wasn't like we wouldn't have, you know, that wasn't our plans. And
we
then
would have paid for it.
Yeah, you know, sharing you know, yard equipment and
but that's just smart. Like that. I feel like that's smart. If they ever want to get another lawnmower, we can go in halfsies and both buy the lawnmower, you know. Like I can think of a ton of people that would be like, oh, my land, you're not gonna build on my land, even though they're not doing anything with it. Or
that it comes with stipulations, and that was the other part with them, is they've never once said like you can't do this or that, or I mean, they're, you know, we talk about something that we want to add on and they're like more than happy to help or whatever. Like it's, and I think that's part of the relationship that we have, and partly personality, you know, that they are just very giving. It's been a huge blessing to have them next door for all kinds of reasons, you know, and not everybody gets along with their in-laws like I do, but they just, I mean, we've just always gotten along really well. So that's kind of the land situation. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments and we'd be happy to address it. But I hope that kind of clears up some of the, I guess, people thinking that it was not a valid part of the story to, you know, for what we've done. So I think the takeaway is probably, if you have an opportunity, then, you know, take it, because it could very well put you further along that journey of where you want to get, you know, toward your goals.
So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't know what we're talking about, you can go watch the Go Downsize video.
We'll link that video in the in the description below, so you can see that whole thing if you haven't.
And read the comments, or don't.
Yeah.
Some of them are just.
Make sure to do newest first. Top comments are kind of, you know.
Yeah, some comments are like really weird. It's like, why do you share one room? Like that question. That's so weird.
How's that weird?
If I don't share a room, I miss my mommy and daddy.
No, you're the sweetest. Are you just trying to be sweet? Oh, you don't have to hold your feelings in. He is so sweet.
Stop.
Oh,
Are you thinking about not sharing a room and how it makes you sad?
You're funny.
I know. We've talked about this. I know it upsets you.
well, there you go.
We've seriously talked about that before, like putting him in his own room, and he's like cried because he doesn't want to, so he'll get there.
He will. We all do.